Ever wondered what really happens in her mind when you suddenly go silent? Brace yourself, what you're about to hear might shake your perspective. When you stop chasing her, she doesn't immediately melt into tears or cue up sad love songs. What happens instead is a dose of reality, mixed with a lesson in emotional control, straight from the Stoics. Stoic wisdom teaches us detachment. It's about pouring energy only into what we can influence. Think about it when you stop sending those constant messages, when your presence suddenly vanishes. She's not falling apart, she's thinking hard. You've shifted from the familiar to the unexpected. You're no longer predictably or intriguing. And whether she admits it or not, she notices, she wonders. Did you finally break free from the crowd? Are you choosing to be different? You might believe she's hoping you'll crawl back. Here's a curveball. Some play a game of emotional hide-and-seek, disappearing just to see how you'll respond. And they expect the usual panic, double texts, a chase. But what if you flip the script? What if your silence isn't emptiness, but a reflection of self-worth, of emotional strength? Instead of reacting, you remain still. And in that quiet, she begins to feel the pull. Don't underestimate what happens when you step back. She might just start chasing the mystery you've become. And while you're here, tap that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Let's dig deeper into the Stoic approach. Learn how to regain the upper hand. Stay with me, let's get unlost together. Number 1, the weight of rejection. Let's talk about something we all go through, but rarely say out loud. Rejection. That deep, ego-bruising sting we pretend doesn't exist. It leaves a mark on every one of us. Now imagine this. You don't gradually drift away. You disappear. One moment you're there giving her all your attention. The next, you're gone, without explanation. In that instant, her sense of control crumbles. At first, she may shrug it off, pretend it's no big deal. But soon enough, the impact settles in. She goes from feeling like you're everything, to questioning if she was ever anything at all. Did I do something wrong? Why isn't he around anymore? Her confidence takes a hit, and that's when the emotional chaos begins. Sadness kicks in. But it's not just your absence, she feels it. The sharp sense of being tossed aside. Like all the time you spent on her suddenly means nothing. She starts doubting herself. Every message you haven't answered becomes a riddle. Every missed call haunts her. Did I say something wrong? Am I not enough? Her mind searches for answers where there are none. Then comes the anger. She begins to think, who does he think he is just vanishing like that? How dare he ignore me? She's furious at you, but deep down, she's also mad at herself. What did I do wrong? Why wasn't I good enough? That's when comparison sneaks in. Maybe he found someone else. Maybe I was just a game. And then comes the shame. She hides behind fake laughs and filtered smiles, trying to seem unaffected. But inside, she feels exposed, vulnerable. Like everyone can see she couldn't keep your attention. She becomes the girl who got left. Publicly, she acts unbothered. Privately, she's drowning in self-doubt. Here's where the Stoic mindset changes. Everything. You didn't pull away to hurt her. You didn't ghost her out of cruelty. You simply let go. You stopped clinging to an outcome. That's the Stoic way. You understand something vital. You can't control how others react. You stepped back not to trigger her emotions, but to reclaim your peace, to live with detachment. Meanwhile, she's on rewind, replaying every moment, every word, every smile between you, wondering what she could have done differently. Should she have been sweeter, colder, less available? She's caught in an endless loop of and while she spirals, you're out living, thriving, unaffected. And here's the truth. This isn't about playing games. It's not about mind tricks or manipulation. It's about a deeper power, accepting what you can't control and letting go of what doesn't serve your peace. If she returns, great. If she doesn't, that's fine too. You don't need her validation, because when you let go, you take back your power. She loses hers. Indifference isn't cruelty, it's freedom. So here's the bottom line. Rejection hurts, for both sides. It stirs up reflection, doubt, confusion. But here's your Stoic advantage. You decide how much it touches you. Walk away and keep walking. Let her face her own thoughts. While you find strength in silence, let her wrestle with what went wrong. You're already past it. Before we move on, pause for a moment. Think about the last time you felt rejection. How did it shift your thinking, your actions, your sense of worth? Was there ever a time when walking away brought you peace you didn't expect? If so, I'd love to hear your experience in the comments. No filter, just truth. Or simply type this reminder: peace lies in detachment. Let that be your compass when emotions run high. Now let's take it a step further. Let's see what comes next. Asterisk number 2. The emotion of missing something. Imagine this. There's a strange irony in how people, especially women, start valuing you the moment you're no longer right there. It almost feels like a psychological twist. And honestly, it's fascinating to observe. You haven't vanished from her life entirely, but the instant you stop pursuing her, everything changes. Your absence disrupts her balance and sends her into emotional territory she didn't see coming. Out of nowhere, the fear of losing you creeps in, and in that exact moment, she starts to understand how much she truly cared. But here's the part that stings: when you were always around, offering your time, energy, and loyalty, she barely saw you. To her, you were just another name in her contacts, just another guy who was available when it suited her. Then suddenly, you disappear into silence, and just like that, the script flips. Now she feels shaken. It's almost laughable how quickly your absence turns you into a prize she didn't even know she wanted. Something shifts inside her. The fear of loss becomes the engine driving her thoughts. She starts replaying your time together like a film stuck on repeat. Every laugh, every late-night chat, even the smallest exchanges now seem priceless. You've become more than a memory, you've become idealized. Suddenly she's questioning, did I really lose him? Is it too late to fix this? And that's when the overthinking begins. Her mind spins into overdrive, dissecting every detail of your past interactions, trying to figure out where things went off track. But here's the truth: she hasn't actually lost anything. There was no argument, no dramatic fallout. You simply became unavailable. And that's where the magic happens. Stoicism tells us that most loss is imagined, not real. And in her case, it's the fear of what might be lost, not what is, that rattles her. That uncertainty, that's what keeps her stuck in emotional chaos. But here's where it gets real. This feeling won't last forever. Yes, she might panic. She might try to pull you back. And maybe she'll even succeed. But as soon as you're fully present again, that urgency fades, and just like before, she slips back into her comfort zone, treating you with the same disinterest you once tolerated. Why? Because the fear is gone. You're no longer a mystery or available. Think of it like a sale. During Black Friday, people trample over each other to grab things they think they need. But once the rush is over, most of those items end up forgotten in a drawer. The same thing happens with you. If you don't hold your space, she only appreciates you when she fears losing you. But the moment you're back in her grasp, she stops trying. That's where Stoicism becomes your compass. Set your boundaries. Don't be fooled by a temporary chase. Just because she's panicking now doesn't mean she'll cherish you later. The real power is in not being fully accessible. Because let's face it, it's the fear of losing you that keeps her engaged, not the comfort of having you. This isn't about playing emotional chess, it's about honoring your worth. Never let yourself become someone who's only valued when absent. Embrace the Stoic principle of detachment. Stay grounded, stay composed, and above all, remain just out of reach. If you're tired of being the guy she only notices when she's scared of losing you, it's time to rewrite the story. Don't be like the product people fight over during a limited time deal, only to toss aside once they've got it. Be the rare, unattainable thing always desirable, never fully possessed. When you internalize this mindset, you stop being the fallback and become the one she regrets letting slip away. If you're done being disposable, it's time to break the cycle. Own your emotions, own your value, reclaim your life. Check out the digital guide linked below. It'll teach you how to stay indifferent, how to rise above the emotional games, and how to make her see exactly what she let go. No more being overlooked. It's time to become the one she never saw coming, and the one she'll never forget. Number 3. Curiosity. Curiosity is one of the most underestimated emotional forces. It can take over her mind, keep her restless at night, and drive her to act in ways even she doesn't recognize. The moment you remove yourself from her orbit, no chasing, no explanations, just silence, you create a vacuum. And human nature hates a vacuum. You've now become the unanswered question, the mystery her mind has to solve. Think about it. How often do people stop and reflect when they know everything? Almost never. But when they're left in the dark, that's when curiosity explodes. When you stop giving her closure, When you leave without a word, her thoughts start spinning. Why did he leave? Did I mess up? Is he with someone else? She starts imagining endless scenarios, and the deeper she thinks, the stronger her obsession grows. Now, according to Stoic philosophy, the goal is to control your reactions and remain emotionally composed. That's exactly what you're doing by staying silent, not to hurt her, not to manipulate, but to preserve your emotional power. What happens in her head now? That's on her. But it's inevitable. Her mind becomes a storm of questions. She starts looking for answers anywhere she can. She stalks your socials. Every post, every like, every interaction is a clue she desperately wants to decode. She reaches out to mutual friends, maybe even your family, trying to uncover any detail about you. Has he said anything? Is he seeing someone? Starts to consume her. She doesn't even realize how deep she's spiraling. But here's the crucial part. Curiosity lives in the unknown. The moment you hand her even a piece of the puzzle, the magic fades. If she figures out why you vanished, or worse, realizes you were doing it intentionally, the spell is broken. The curiosity dies. That's why emotional control is everything. Don't slip. Don't explain. Don't satisfy her questions, because the second you do, you lose the very thing that kept you powerful in her eyes. And remember, curiosity has a dark side. Left unchecked, it can become obsession. She might start showing up in your world by accident. She might dig into your digital footprints, tracking down things you didn't even know were public. But here's the truth. She never fully solved the mystery, because the secret to keeping her curious is to never let her understand you completely. Stay an enigma. Stoicism also teaches the art of detachment. You're not seeking validation. You're not chasing closure. You're choosing peace over chaos, discipline over drama. You don't owe her an explanation. Not when you've chosen to rise above the emotional games, while she's stuck in a loop of uncertainty. You're living, top, focused, free. So let her wonder, let her chase a truth she may never find, because while curiosity may not kill the cat, will keep her chasing the one man she can't figure out. Number 4. Self-reflection. Picture this. You've been present in her life, not smothering, just enough to show genuine interest. But then, without warning, you decide to pull back. Not to play games, but because you've finally recognized your own value. You stop initiating conversations. You stop showing up consistently. You remove yourself from her orbit. Now, you're no longer just another guy orbiting her world. Your sudden absence creates a ripple effect. She's thrown off balance. For a woman who thrives on consistent attention, the sudden silence is deafening. She's used to men competing for her energy, her time, her validation. But now, you're no longer part of that competition. And that, right there, disrupts her entire narrative. You've chosen to walk a different path. You've exited the chase. You've taken back control. And this is where Stoicism enters. By detaching from the need to be validated, by resisting the urge to act out of desire, you showcase what true strength looks like: emotional self-discipline. You're not letting her moods or whims determine your moves. At first, she may brush it off. He'll be back, she thinks. That's what always happens, right? But days go by, and you remain absent. That's when the doubt creeps in. She begins to question it all. Why isn't he chasing me? Did I say something? Was I not enough? And just like that, she's the one doing the reflecting, replaying old messages, rethinking every word and look, trying to pinpoint what drove you away. She's no longer in control, and that's foreign to her. Her ego, once constantly boosted by attention, starts to deflate. She wonders if maybe she wasn't as captivating as she believed. Maybe, just maybe, you saw through the illusion. Let's bring this into real life. Think of a time when you decided to redirect your focus towards your career, your passions, your own growth. You stopped pouring energy into someone who expected it endlessly. It felt liberating, right? And then unexpectedly she reached out. Why? Because your absence disturbed the dynamic. You were no longer predictable. That made you intriguing. Again, from there, two things can happen. In one scenario, she tries to win you back. She becomes the one reaching out, testing the waters, seeking a way back in, not to dominate, but to reassure herself she hasn't lost control. In another scenario, she convinces herself she's better off telling herself you weren't worth it. But even if she walks away, she remembers you. Why? Because you didn't play the game. You didn't chase. You stood out. While she's caught in a loop of overthinking and self-analysis, you've already moved forward. You're focused on you, your peace, your progress, your purpose, and that's the ultimate win. You didn't need her validation. You chose yourself, and in doing so, you gained something far greater than her attention: complete emotional mastery. Number 5, she pursue you. Now comes the twist, the moment when everything flips. When you go quiet without explanation, something stirs in her. It triggers a blend of curiosity and rejection she wasn't ready for. Suddenly, you become a mystery, and mysteries demand solving. You've stopped texting. You're no longer showing up when expected. And now, she's wondering, what changed? Why isn't he responding? Where did he go? Your unpredictability becomes your power. She no longer feels in control, and that realization makes her uneasy, maybe even obsessed. Her first move, subtle. She starts watching your online presence like a hawk. Every story you post, every new photo will find her name at the top of the viewer list. You might even notice her liking old posts, ones from years ago. Not by accident. It's intentional. It's her way of saying, I'm still watching. If that's not enough, she'll level up. If you've made yourself hard to access, she may resort to fake accounts, just to check in unnoticed. She becomes a silent detective, trying to uncover your every move, where you are, who you're with, and whether you've moved on. She may even send mutual friends to gather intel. Suddenly, people you barely talk to are keeping tabs on you, reporting back to her, trying to get the scoop. All of this stems from one thing: her struggle with losing control. You've done something most don't have disrupted the pattern, and now she can't ignore it. But here's the brilliance of it: you're not reacting, you're not baited, you're detached. This is Stoicism in action. You understand what's within your control, your thoughts, your actions, and you've let go of everything else. You've turned your focus inward, not to manipulate her, but to protect your peace. And that's what gets to her most, because she can feel the shift. She senses that you're no longer emotionally tied to her reactions, and that's unsettling. Maybe you've been here before. You step back, and suddenly she's more attentive than ever, checking in, watching, even asking others about you. If this rings true, drop a comment. Let's hear your experience. Don't think about it. Have you noticed someone coming back around when you finally gave them space? Are you noticing signs of her trying to re-enter your life now that you've pulled back? This is your time to reflect. Your actions have power. They shape the responses of others, often in ways you never expected. If you've felt the shift, if you've seen it happen, type below. The power is in my hands, because when you stop chasing, you become the one worth. Number 6, relief or regret. Let's talk about a reality many avoid. Sometimes, when you finally pull away, you're actually giving her exactly what she hoped for. You didn't expect it. Maybe you thought she'd feel your absence deeply, but instead, she feels lighter. Maybe she had already checked out emotionally. Maybe she saw no long-term future with you. Your disappearance might have been a quiet escape hatch. She was waiting for one. She didn't have the courage to open herself. She may feel a calm wave of relief, a sense of freedom. Finally, she thinks, I don't have to deal with this anymore. Harsh, but real. And this is where you need to be brutally honest with yourself. The teachings of Stoicism remind us, don't live in illusions. Face things as they are, not as you want them to be. You may have been clinging to something that had already died long before you walked away. If that's the case, then your departure wasn't a loss for her, it was closure. Now, here's where your mindset matters more than ever. Instead of resisting reality or trying to force something to work, you let go. Not out of bitterness, but out of self-respect. You accept that no relationship can thrive if only one person is doing the work. But then, on the other side of that coin, is regret. Sometimes your silence doesn't free her, it haunts her. She starts thinking, replaying conversations, revisiting the way things ended. Slowly, it hits her. Maybe she got it wrong. Maybe she took you for granted. Maybe she dismissed the value you brought. And now, the emptiness is louder than she expected. That's when the regret starts to creep in. Now she's stuck in her own head, battling between pride and vulnerability. Should she reach out? Should she try to fix what she broke? This is the moment where you hold the power. Stoicism tells us not to rush when emotions rise. Her regret might awaken feelings in U-boat. Don't let them blind you. Stop, reflect, ask yourself, even if she comes back, do you truly want to go through that again? Because regret alone doesn't rebuild anything. It takes more. It takes accountability, change, and effort from both people. If all she has is guilt and nostalgia, that's not enough. Your job now: stay grounded. Stay focused on what you can control. Your reaction. If she's moved on, let her go with peace. If she returns, don't fall back in without asking yourself if anything meaningful has changed. At the end of the day, this isn't about what she feels relief or regret. It's about you standing firm in your self-worth, knowing your value, choosing your next step with clarity, not emotion. As the Stoics would remind us, true strength doesn't come from outcomes. It comes from mastering your inner world. Number 7. She play the game. Let's get into something many of you have seen firsthand. Once you start pulling back, the games begin. But this isn't just any game. This is a battle of control, ego, and emotional leverage. You stepped back maybe to reset, maybe to protect your peace, but to her, that withdrawal is a challenge, a threat to the control she thought she had. And some women, they'll rise to that challenge with full intensity, not to fix the connection, but to win. Suddenly, things feel off. What started as you creating space turns into a subtle mind game, a psychological tug-of-war. This is where Stoicism becomes your shield, because when she senses that shifting control, some won't just let it go, they'll fight to get it back, without ever saying it out loud. She might not come at you directly. Instead, she bait you. You get a random message. It's light, casual. Hey, hope you're good. You feel a sense of normalcy return until she disappears again. Radio silence, no replies, just static. Now you're spiraling, wondering what happened, overthinking. And that's the point. That's the exact reaction she was aiming for. She flips the script, and now you're the one chasing. She's not trying to rebuild, she's testing how much control she still has. This is the danger zone. Your emotions are triggered. You want clarity. You want to respond. But Stoicism says, don't bite. When you recognize these tactics, you have two choices. Let yourself fall into her web of confusion, or stay grounded in your emotional independence. She might even hit you with vague breadcrumbs just thinking about you, or miss those old times. But these aren't heartfelt. They're hooks, unclear, open-ended, and designed to keep you uncertain. Here's a scenario. You're out, and you see her laughing, talking with someone else like you never existed. Jealousy hits. Insecurity knocks. But remember the wisdom. It's not what happens, it's how you respond. Her behavior. It's not about you. It's her way of regaining the upper hand. She may not admit it, but your distance made her uncomfortably, and now, rather than face that vulnerability, she plays games to test her influence over you. The trap is simple. If you react emotionally, you hand her all the control back. So what's the move? Let her play her game alone. You don't need to respond to vague texts. You don't have to decode her silence. You don't have to chase after breadcrumbs. You hold your ground. You remain centered. Your peace. That's your priority. Her attention, because the moment you stop reacting, the game ends. She'll try to stir the storm, but your power is in remaining unmoved by it. So ask yourself, will you let her pull you into her emotional battlefield, or will you rise above, with calm, clarity, and the quiet strength of someone who no longer plays to lose? The choice is yours. Number 8. The weight of silence and silence. It's more than just the absence of words, it's presence without speaking. When you go quiet, you're not just walking away from a conversation. You're stepping straight into her thoughts. That stillness you create, it echoes louder than any sentence you could have delivered. Suddenly, you're not texting, not calling, not reacting, and that lack of input becomes her obsession. Her mind races to fill in the blanks. What's going on? Did he lose interest? Is someone else in the picture? This is where silence becomes more than a pause, it becomes power. Why does it hit so hard? Because it awakens something primal, the fear of losing something valuable. Nobody likes uncertainty. Nobody enjoys feeling forgotten. When you pull away, she feels that shift, and that shift forces her to reflect, to overthink, to imagine all the reasons you're no longer so available. That's the moment her comfort cracks. Now she's questioning everything, not because you told her to, but because you didn't say anything at all. Used with intention, silence becomes a psychological trigger, and from a Stoic lens, it's more than just creating mystery, about staying in control. Stoicism teaches us not to be led by emotion. So when you choose silence, you're showing that you don't need to react to every move she makes. You're not rushing to explain, not desperate for approval. You're grounded, unshaken. And that kind of restraint, it commands respect. Imagine this. You've been engaging her consistently, texts, calls, attention on demand. Then, without warning, you slow it down. You don't respond instantly. Maybe not at all. Suddenly, you're no longer predictable. And where predictability fades, intrigue takes its place. She starts to revisit your last conversation. She wonders if she said something wrong. Her emotional investment deepens, not because you chased her, but because you stopped. Now, let's be clear, this isn't about vanishing completely. It's not about ghosting or playing cruel games, disappearing for weeks. That's not silence, it's manipulation. Stoicism teaches balance. You step back just enough to create curiosity, but not enough to breed resentment. The truth is, if you've always been overly available, constantly replying within seconds, your sudden silence can seem fake. But if you've already established your independence from the beginning, that silence becomes a part of your nature, a calm, quiet strength that pulls her in. Let's face it, nobody chases what's easy to catch. Predictable equals forgettable. If you're always explaining, always present, always available, you become ordinary. But when you stop giving her full access to your time and energy, you show her something rare. Your attention is valuable. It's not promised, it's earned. And that's what draws her closer. That's what makes her chase. The real power lies in what you don't reveal. It's not just staying quiet. It's using silence as a message. You don't have to say everything. In fact, what you leave unsaid often says more. Let her wonder. Let her imagine. That space you've created. That's where her emotional investment grows. She analyze, speculate, and eventually realize she misses your presence more than she ever thought she would. But here's the key. Don't confuse silence with manipulation. This isn't a trick, it's a reflection of strength. As Epictetus said, it's not things that disturb us, but our interpretation of them. Your silence shouldn't come from bitterness, should come from confidence. You're not trying to confuse her, you're just no longer desperate to be understood. That's what makes you magnetic. So, how do you use this power without overstepping? Start by valuing your time. Recognize that your energy is a privilege, not a guarantee. When you stop giving it away so freely, people start valuing it more. She'll begin to notice your absence. She'll pay closer attention to your words because now they're rare. You're not talking to be heard. You speak with intention, with clarity, with calm. And when you do say something, it lands harder. It matters more. Because you've shown that your words aren't cheap, they carry weight. That's the beauty of silence. When it's used with purpose, it separates you from the crowd. It transforms you from just another guy into the guy who lingers in her thoughts, long after you've gone quiet. So next time you feel tempted to fill the silence, pause, let it breathe.